and he has been specializing in architecture, advertising, documentary photography since the last 25 years. Besides having worked for numerous international publications and agencies, including Time, Der Spiegel, Elle Decor, National Geography, his photographs have been widely exhibited in Delhi, Mumbai, New York, London, Tokyo, Madrid, Melbourne, and Dhaka. Some of his photographs are also in the permanent collection of the Gabaron Foundation, Spain, and Sangimara Museum in Japan. His book, India, A Timeless Celebration, which I must say is a fabulous book, won him prestigious awards of Best Photographer of the Year Asia, given by Sangimara Museum in Japan. His most recent book, which is Kashmir, has been highly acclaimed for its stark and deeply personal take on the region. It's neither about the conflict nor about the landscape only. And actively, he's involved in mentoring young photographers, and he's also currently working on 2 of his new photo books. One is called The Sufis, Messengers of the Peace, and one is called Roznama. So over to you, sir.
Hi. It's a little embarrassing. The introductions are little on a region which is full of love and hate, full of warmth and bitterness, a lot of confusion, chaos, conflict and violence. The region is Kashmir. My affair with Kashmir started in 2006. When I have been assigned to do a story on conflict zone. The work I'll be sharing not only the pictures but my experiences working as a photographer, my passion, my failure, my exit from this project, and then going back and restarting. Mainly the initial part was a disgust and the failure. In 2006 June, I have landed in Kashmir for an agency assignment. The assignment was very clearly on one word, conflict zone. We are all, as a photographer, we all know what conflict is all about. But Kashmir is a little different. Kashmir is not always going full throttle, and nor it's silent also. It's always simmering. There is always a simmer in Kashmir. Something you expect or you presume or you see that something is always about to happen. In 2006 to 2010, there was a time when the stone pelting, when the protests were at its best, we would say they were at the peak. So the idea of conflict was, I started shooting, I was there on one Tuesday. After every Friday namaz, there's bound to be a protest. There's bound to be a protest after every Friday namaz, and then the stone pelting. After stone pelting, there's a shutdown. There's a call for shutdown. And so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's a shutdown. And during the shutdown, again there will be a protest. There will be a tear gas shelling. There will be firing. Somebody might die. Some policemen will get injured. So the cycle goes on. It's a weekly cycle. It used to be a weekly cycle. When I landed there, I was smitten by 2 things. One definitely was the beauty of Kashmir, and the next was conflict. Kashmir is one place, in my opinion, that it doesn't allow you to think, because images are always floating in front of your eyes. They're always, I feel the images fly more than AK-47. There are so much of visual imagery in Kashmir. When you get tired of conflict, you see the beauty. When you tired of one, you see the other. Same thing happened with me. I finished my story, came back to Delhi, filed my pictures. But this idea of Kashmir was fantastic. I got really fascinated by this idea of Kashmir. This is the time when I was finishing my last previous book, India book, and after this, I was looking for a subject to work on, but I was not sure about Kashmir, but something got stuck. I went back to Kashmir in September again. September again, the same thing happened. It was the violence, the weekly cycle of stone pelting, protest, shutdown, tear gas shelling. I shot. I really started enjoying what I had left 13 years, 14 years back, 15 years back as a photojournalist. I started doing the pictures of violence as a news photographer. I started enjoying. It's okay. It's okay. I started enjoying that genre of photography. Though for the last almost, after 2002, I had been practicing mainly documentary and architecture. But somehow something got, it's like, meeting your old girlfriend and you started again enjoying that nostalgia. I came back, again went back after 3 months. I'm just going to cut this short because we don't have that much of time. But this whole episode of coming back and going back to Kashmir went on till 2008, and wherein I had been shooting the conflict, beauty, conflict, beauty, conflict, beauty. In 2000, and every time I used to come back, I used to look at my pictures, I used to look at agency pictures shot by friends of AP, AFP. Our pictures were more or less same. We were doing same thing, just the locations were different. In the beginning of 2008, I started asking myself what exactly I'm doing. But by the time I got over with that nostalgia of stepping into a news photographer's shoes, being a photojournalist, which I was not. I started asking myself why the hell I am doing this body of work, why I am doing this project. Every time I go there, I repeat myself, I get good pictures, I come back, that's it. I was frankly heading nowhere. Frustration started coming up, started mounting up. One day I decided, boss, this is the end of the road, you are not doing anything. Anything with the project, because what you are doing is, it's not you. You landed in Kashmir to do something which is your own voice. But you ended up as a photojournalist, which you are not. I was not a photojournalist. But I started shooting that genre of photography, which people have been doing for the last 20 years. Since 1989, there's a lot has been shot in Kashmir on those lines. So I was practically not doing anything good, great, or new. It's very important for us, because we photographers are always very greedy. We think whatever we shoot is the picture. In this process of frustrations, agony, all those things, I decided to shelve this project. Completely shelve this project to that extent, one day at 2 a.m. in the morning, I literally deleted everything. I was so disgusted with myself that I simply wasted 2 years and I only repeated what the other people have already done. I literally deleted every damn thing except few pictures which you will see now was left over in one of the pen drive, maybe for one reason. I met a friend after a week. He said, "So how's the project going on?" By the time everybody in town knew that I had been working in Kashmir, I said, "Boss, nothing is happening here. I'm so disgusted. I literally shelved the project. There is nothing. I'm not heading anywhere." While I was talking to him, I said, "Okay, let's go and say final goodbye to Kashmir." It's just like, going back to and saying goodbye to your fiancé or girlfriend and said, "Okay, things didn't work out between us," but because I was very passionate and emotionally attached with this idea of Kashmir, but somehow it didn't work. And I did something very unusual for a photographer, all of us are experienced photographer. It's very difficult for a photographer to leave the camera behind. I left my cameras behind. I went to Kashmir. And I think that was a blessing in disguise. Because what has been happening so far till now, I used to land up in Kashmir, and as I said, there's so much of imagery is happening in Kashmir. People who are familiar with Kashmir, they must be knowing about this. That it doesn't allow you to think, because everything is readily available there. So the camera starts automatically working. Mind starts working. I dropped the camera back in Delhi. I went to Kashmir. I just started roaming on the streets, having conversations with the locals. The first thing I realized, which I had been feeling during those things, but it never overpowered me, because I always landed in Kashmir like an Indian, and they were Kashmiris. This is the first time I realized there's so much of mistrust wall is there in between us. They just don't open themselves. The moment we say Indian, they shut themselves. Okay, let's talk now. You are Indian, I am Kashmiri. We created a boundary between us. You will see a lot of work, there is a division between us. I realized that there is a lot of alienation, a lot of claustrophobicness. My whole body of work after 2008, which is the main body of work, is based on these expressions. I started taking notes of what I have felt. Alienation. The land got so much alienated. The people, the landscape. There's a silence. There's a silence all over in Kashmir. Leave the Dalgate Nehru Park, which is the tourism site of Kashmir, the Foreshore Road, if you go to downtown or on the outskirts of Kashmir. This is a very eerie silence. It's not a peaceful silence. You go to any Pandit Mahalla, any Pandit locality, you will find, all those haunted houses. It's like a movie, there's a suspense thriller is going on, and you will literally feel that, at least I have felt, some hand will come and hold you from the back. So that kind of feelings are there. There's a choked void is there. I simply took notes, came back without having any idea, because for me it was over. But in my mind, again, it was not over. Again I went back, did the same exercise, left my camera behind, and again having conversations. This is the first time I realized how our own identity, our own national identity, because I always used to go there, hey, I am an Indian, huh? Don't bullshit. How we carry this baggage and this, our own identity becomes a problem in persuading our work. So the first step was deleting yourself. If you I really wanted to move into the skin of my subject, I put myself aside. And that is the time they started opening themselves. They started showing their wounds. There's so much of pain, there's so much of agony is there. But the moment we say Indian, I have a, not here, but there are many incidents happened. I was walking on a street with a local assistant of mine, and some shopkeeper asked, I used to wear Firan, so some shopkeeper asked me, uh, which part of Kashmir you are. I didn't even get it what he's saying. So he sensed it. He asked my assistant. He said, he's from New Delhi. He got up and he literally said, "Thu!" And I shot that. I put my camera in front. I have the picture of that man, the saliva is coming down. So that kind of hatred is there. And you feel that kind of hatred, for at least for Indians. For a foreign journalist, no problem. You are much more welcomed because you are the one who will go and show our pain to the world media. But for an Indian, and especially if you are not showing what they want to say, it's a huge problem. It's a huge, huge problem. For them, I was an army guy, I was an army spy. For army, I was a human rights activist. So I was always walking this tightrope between two of them, and there are many episodes, many incidents happened. So coming back to the expressions, in my 20 years, I'm sure a lot of photographers must have realized this in earlier stage, but may or may not be. But I have realized that there are times when we should put the camera aside and first deal with the subject heart to heart. It's not always putting the camera in front and then think. We have been trained like that. The school I come from, we have been trained like that. You look through the camera and then start shooting. It's very important, at least for me now, to put the camera aside, deal with the subject. As far as Kashmir is concerned, I say these are the images, not what I have seen. These are the images what I have felt. These are the expressions what I have felt. These are the outcomes what I have out of the conversations. These pictures are the outcomes of the literature or the books I have read during that period. One very small example I would like to give, Basharat Peer has written, I don't know how many of you read or aware of that book, Curfewed Nights. And in that book he said, when we Kashmiris been picked up by the forces, by the Indian Armed Forces, we never been picked up by the names. We have always been picked up randomly. So we were faceless Kashmiris. This word got stuck somewhere in my mind, faceless Kashmiri. So there are few portraits I have attempted where the face was not important. There will be a picture you might find, एक मुर्गा है, एक तराजू में है. There's a hen or cock. There in a weighing scale, and one of the Kashmiri said, "साहब हमारे यहाँ जिंदगी का क्या मोल है? हमारे यहाँ जिंदगी और मौत तराजू में तुलती है." At the moment that guy said कि there is no value of life and death in our. Next, in the same trip, after 2 days, I saw in one of there's this poor chicken is there in one of the weighing scales. So a lot of work is metaphoric. There are a number of things I try to convey, but I'll share the work with you, and then we can talk about. I'm showing you the work in 2 time phases. One is from 2006 and 2008, what I had been doing and what I rejected, and then how the next 2008 to 2011, how the work has started. Yasin Malik, one of the separatists. Can we switch off the lights, please? Something's gone wrong. Can we go back? Sorry, something is terribly wrong. The epicenter Lal Chowk. It's practically a city of deads. psychological problems. These are the houses I was talking about. There's no taker practically. So this was, in brief, my journey for 5.5 years. It's a very, uh, it's actually a very isolated place. Whenever I think back, whenever I go back to my memories, it's a very, very isolated place. It really, really leaves a huge psychological impact. The people who are living over there, there are so many psychological cases, psychological disturbances. The people who are working there, I personally gone through the same thing after working for 5.5 years. I almost stopped speaking because in Kashmir people hardly speak to each other. They move from one end to another end in the fear that there might be at every cross point, there might be a checking for their identity. So there's a lot of fear on the streets you will see. Things have got little better, but till 2011, there was so much of claustrophobicness, there's so much of fear. In 2012, on my personal account, I was blessed with a daughter, and I used to play with her. But I used to play with her in my mind. I never used to speak. I have gone for counseling. I'm just sharing these things because at times we are so involved in our projects that it affects us also. Yesterday, there was a question to Ben that emotional connect. We are all human beings. We get connected. When I show this, when I've done this body of work, I don't say I am coming out with a resolution on Kashmir or it's an idea. It's only, I shot only as a witness. What I have felt, I shot, and it's only as a witness. Nothing. There is no, of course, it's a very political state. The death plays a huge role there. In India, we people in cities, we people have community center. At least in Delhi, we have community centers. In Hyderabad also, in every city, we have community centers for having functions or birthdays or marriages. In every area, in every locality, we have local community centers. In Kashmir, they have one Qabristan in every locality. There is one specific graveyard allocated to one locality. People have practically have become numb. Death doesn't affect them. So there is so much of cut, alienation. What you see, the products have been selling in India or of the rest of the India or of the world. In Kashmir, till 2012, till 2011, there was a brand called BSC, which you will never find anywhere in India. It used to be 15 years, 20 years back. Texla TV. Those things are still there. So there's a huge gap. There was a huge silence. In many pictures, like one particular picture, to me this is Kashmir problem. You can never find a solution for Indians, for Kashmiris, for Pakistan. Kashmir has always been sandwiched between India and Pakistan. There is no solution to it. It's a huge industry. Nobody wants to solve problem. There was a tear gas shelling on the other side of the road, and these policemen were all charged. And all of a sudden, I saw this metaphor. These barbed wire, to me, they have got entangled so much, you can't find the corner of it. You can't, koi sira nahi milta iska problem ka. And the presence of police is so strong there. We people don't feel it because we don't live in Kashmir. But the presence of police, the forces are so annoying. Of course, as an Indian, when I see the forces play a huge role, why the forces are there, that's another question. Why the forces were not there before 1989, that's another question. So forces are there definitely for a purpose. But that purpose also becomes too much on the mindset. So the whole body of work has actually dealt with the psyche. This is in short what I wanted to say. I would like to close it here. Any questions? I want to come in the time slot. Yeah. Can we have the lights now?
Yeah. So Mehta, this is wonderful journey through Kashmir. You are so sensitive photographer.
Sorry, come again.
No, it's a wonderful journey through Kashmir streets and the faces. You are so sensitive photographer. Over 6 years of your attachment to the Kashmir and Kashmir problems. I feel you have projected one side of the problem. The Kashmiris, the eerie silence. Your music also goes very well with the subject. That eeriness, that mysticism in the streets and that empty streets and all that. But there is a bigger problem to this beyond that. The Kashmir problem, which people are struggling to solve, the international problem. Did you see the other side of this problem in your journey to Kashmir? This other side of the problem is the problem that they want to separate, the problem which poses a threat to the country, and the problem is militants invading day in, day out and shooting the forces dead and creating havoc. Did this not evoke your emotion as a photographer and never allowed you to make some pictures out of that?
I think you missed out. There are many pictures based on that. Let me come back. When we talk about militancy, this one picture says everything, and that's the reason I need to explain this. For me, it's my take on Kashmir. It's my witness to Kashmir. The problem of Kashmir, you said people are struggling to solve. I beg to differ with you, sir. People want to keep it alive. All the parties, and I'm not here as a judge, I'm not speaking as a judge, I'm only a photographer, I would like to remain in the genre of photography only. But nobody wants to solve it. It goes in everybody's favor. There's a huge package goes on. On one strike, people, I don't want to name, but people get huge amount of money from across the border. To open the strike, they got huge amount of money from this side of the border. So, it's a very complex problem, and the money is so importantly involved, the role of money, the exchange of money is so important here that nobody is willing. You know, in Kashmir, government announced if your house, if you got victimized in a bomb blast, and if your house got bombed, you will got X amount of money and piece of land. You know the outcome of that? People literally have started. There were many cases. And when you get, like all over India, the situation, you know, when we talk about Kashmir, the situation, and I speak to my Kashmiri friend, the situation in Kashmir is not very different from the rest of the India. Unemployment is a huge problem. Huge problem there. We all know so much of money goes there. In Kashmir, people don't pay taxes. So much of money, so much of packages go on. We are going little different from photography, but since you have asked this. But the money never goes to the common man, like rest of India. In Kashmir, the unemployed youth picks up the gun, looks at Pakistan. Same time in UP, in Gorakhpur, in Azamgarh, the unemployed youth picks up the gun and he becomes a builder mafia. Problems are same. Solutions, they are going same ways. UP might be the worst than Kashmir, but the situations are same. This was my take. Yeah, Aditya.
Amit, congratulations, but your work does evoke sympathies for these people. I have no sympathies for these people. I've been working there since '77 in other aspects of Kashmir, where you know that I go there every few months to work on their resorts and these other things, so I spend a lot of time with these locals and things. Militancy has become a profession. This state is a drain on our country. We are spending millions there every day. People are dying there. And your pictures are beautiful statement on these people who are being misused by the politicians of that state. Absolutely. You know, what has happened to the pundits? That story is yet to come out. You will do it probably one day. Because
I have a picture there, you know.
No, you will do
let me come back. I'll show you wonderful.
Absolutely. I see the pictures. I studied the pictures. Beautiful.
No, it's not about.
I'm making a statement on, I love these pictures. I love the sympathy which you evoke for these people. But as an Indian, I feel there is a very big problem which nobody wants to look at. Well,
are you done?
I don't know what I have to say right now as a counterpoint to what has been said, but I thought I will put forth my reactions to it and part of my own experiences. This series of pictures reminded me of Picasso's Guernica. Okay? And I had been reminded of Guernica about 10 years ago when I was working in Bihar, dealing with female infanticide. And an image is stuck in my mind. We used to work with an NGO there, trying to get these midwives to not kill the babies for 300 rupees that they would receive, right? And I'd worked with the DGP there and some of those, and the idea was to incentivize them and say, we'll give you 3,000, don't kill those children, just drop them off here. I mean, there's nothing much that we did other than the fact that we saved some 48 girls, but there was one incident. I was in Patna, and we got a phone call and said, if you rush, you'd be able to save the life of a child. Unfortunately, we had sent the driver off. He had turned his cell phone off. We couldn't reach in time. The child had been killed. The child was killed in a very grotesque manner. Unhusked grains of wheat shoved into her throat. She choked on her blood. There's a reason why I'm telling you this. The child's face, of course, was horrific, and I held her in my arms. There's yet another image that I had, and that ties me to this. There are a couple of images where you just show the eyes. It's the same sense of helplessness. It's that sense of helplessness that I saw in that woman's eyes, whose child the family forced her to murder. Okay. We can, of course, have a political perspective of Kashmir. We can have a communitarian perspective on Kashmir. We can, of course, also attribute a sense of responsibility to their own people or the religion or whatever else you may have. But ultimately, I think the story that you wanted to convey, much like the eyes of that lady, was there is still a humanity that is lost somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. See, I think as human, as Indian, we tend to get charged, emotionally charged, and there is nothing wrong in that. Aditya got charged. There is nothing wrong in that. I have faced this kind of questions in every talk. But the point is to push the boundaries as a photographer, as a human being. As a human being, we love to create divides. Whether it's India-Pakistan, it's Hindu-Muslim, it's beef versus goat. It's in Hindus there are 4 segments. In Muslim there are Shia Sunni. So there is unending. My point is, for how long we'll have to see the world through the prism of division? That's my personal take. Somebody's personal take can be right or wrong. I am not a judge. My personal take was I was tired of shooting the same images because I was shooting exactly from the point of view of Indian. Our forces are there. Our forces are there because 1989 they were not there because there was absolutely cool atmosphere, calm, peace was there. Forces are there. There is a reason, because if the forces are not there, Pakistan will definitely enter. You remove the forces and today you remove the forces, within 48 hours the situation will be a different situation. So there is a reason of the forces. What as an Indian we feel, it's a problem, but where is not the problem? It's not only Kashmir. Delhi is not a problem. Gurgaon is not a problem. Every city we struggle, there is a problem going on. And there's a problem of division going on. The point is to push the boundaries as a photographer, to reject what you don't like. It's extremely important. Photography is not about calculations. Photography is about heart to heart. We don't do photography because we want it to be somewhere. We do photography because we feel passionate about it. We do photography because we wanted to raise our voice through this medium. I also do commercial work. I do commercial work mainly to sustain my projects like this. I enjoy my commercial work, but I know I have a very clear agenda while I'm doing my commercial work. I need money out of that. That is where the calculation goes. That's where the mind goes, but the heart goes here. It's all about what you want to do. And there is nothing wrong, nothing right. I might like something, you might not like that. There is no fixed formula, but the only fixed formula is it's about passion. It's only about passion. It's only about fire in your belly. Push the boundaries, reject. We are so emotionally attached with our own work. We don't want to delete. I can't tell you how liberated I feel. I just wanted to get that work out of my system. Because till the time that work was there, I was getting queries from different agencies. I used to fire one picture here, one picture there, one. I was not able to come out of that mode. I was still struggling. We have to draw a line somewhere. I drew the line, and I think I did the right thing. It's extremely important. The rejection is extremely important. The passion is very important. Yesterday, I thoroughly enjoyed, I think all of us enjoyed Ben's talk. Why? He was not speaking from his mind. He's speaking from here. There was so much of passion about photography. And he was not mincing words. Very clear thought process. Because there was a clarity in mind and heart. There was a connectivity. Photography is not about picking up the camera and start shooting. Just give a thought of what we are doing, what we want to do or what we don't want to do per se. That's what my take is. Any other question? Yeah, I would request you to come.
I think we can have the next question. You can go ahead.
I would like to take the lady.
Yeah.
Please, Barbara, please save me.
I think the next thing I'll know, I'll be thrown out for having too many questions. But
No, it's okay. You have please. Carry on.
So honestly, I feel this is one of the most powerful works that I've ever seen. Not saying I've seen too many works, but one of the most powerful works that I've ever seen.
Thank you. You saved me.
Secondly, this is a very personal question. I hope you don't mind answering it. It's not related to
How
photography.
can I answer your personal question?
No, it's related to the project. So
Please finish.
I think please go ahead. I think please we can have the
Excuse
question.
me.
Let's not waste time in arguing over the question. Let's have the
Sir.
question.
Okay, you could
We are
choose not
wasting,
to answer.
sir, we are wasting time for Barbara. There's a very important body of work.
You could choose not to answer it. I'm sorry,
please.
Barbara. Okay, so my question is, during your 5.5 years of work or whatever you did in Kashmir,
Ji.
did you ever feel the obligation to go out of your way, go out of that label of a photographer and help them, or you just felt so helpless that you continued photographing? 5.5 years is a long time.
Yeah.
So,
There are many times. I was actually on the verge of becoming an activist. But again, you'll have to draw the line that you are only a photographer. Your job is to witness and share the work with the rest of the world. You are not an activist. Of course, we are all human. At personal level, I don't want to disclose all those things, but yes, at personal level, I help people like I helped many other. Because for me, it's very important, that's my belief, I can be completely wrong, that more than anything, sympathy or emotions, people need money. Many times. At home, we have a system where we connect people. That's a wonderful thing. Between me and my wife, we do. We connect people, we have a lot of corporate clients. So we connect people, our corporate clients, to the needy ones. Our job is not to take money and channelize the money. We just connect you. If you need money, if you're going, literally if you are a genuine case, for example, we will connect you to a person. And our job is to make sure that, to give him reminders, sir, your monthly or annual EMI or whatever you say that is due, so please help that person out. So we are just informer, we just that. So that level we do all across India. As far as Kashmir was concerned, at many times I wanted to help them out. At many times I had arguments like Aditya. I had all those things. There are children I am deeply attached with. I taught there because in Kashmir, when there is a curfew, it's better to teach children instead of watching Pakistani channel in your room, in your hotel room. There are many times you land up in Kashmir and you land up and you see there's a curfew and you're standing like a moron. Now what will you do? So you'll have to figure out what will you do. So I used to channelize my time with a lot of children. That I have done another series. There's a guy called Javed Ahmed Tak in Pahalgaon, and that man unfortunately got shot. His brother was a politician, and brother was not at home, so he got victimized. Militants attacked, and this boy, when he was 19-year-old, he got shot, and he got shot in his spine. We get very charged. We Indians, we Kashmiris. That boy got, what a lesson, what a story. I have done a story, we 9 photographers have done a series, Unsung Heroes of India. So in that story is there. That boy got shot. For 7 years he was paralyzed. He's still paralyzed. He was only on the bed. He just could not even move left or right. After that, he started a school. He started a school, and he started a school with the children of militants who died or run away. What a story of compassion. I worked a lot in his school. So whatever my bit was there, I was working. And we used to, there was a picture I was talking about. This thing, there's a mural of a goddess on a wall. You know what this wall is? This is what the syncretic tradition of Kashmir used to be. और ऐसा नहीं है, मतलब the main people who literally suffered, and I say it's a cursed land, the people who suffered are Pandits. They literally suffered and nobody speaks about them. I was lucky one, after 20 years in 2011, they painted this. This was a tradition, goes 500 years back. You know this wall? This wall is the wall of a mosque. If you see, there's a half moon. You will never find in the world that on the wall of a mosque, the goddess, the mural of a goddess. But in Kashmir, I mean, I was not aware, thank you for correcting me. But in Kashmir, it used to happen like this. There was a part of ethnic cleansing in 1989. So that's another problem. When we talk about the problem of Kashmir, we can go on, go on, go on. There is no solution, and there are so many problems. Sorry, coming back to photography, please. I'll go back. No, even I can go haywire. No, that's another thing. No, that's another thing, it's nothing to do.
I think we had a question there. Somebody has a question from there? We'll take one last question.
Hi. I just wanted to ask one thing. It's like, first, let me congratulate you. It's like a wonderful photo series that you have shown us. It's
Thank
like
you.
quite amazing. But I like the fact that you have used a very good music with it also, like to enhance the images. But you have not credited the music anywhere in your slideshow. Like, why is that?